Okay, Heidi ho everyone, and welcome aboard. It is Hump Day. It's probably not as important as FOMC Eve, I suspect, but you know, it's not a bad day because it means the weekend's getting closer. And of course, so are profits. We hope that's the case. Let's inform you, of course, that Ash is having internet problems, may not be able to join us in this session. We will see. He's trying his darndest to get into the show, but he is having issues, as he has let me know. G'day, Dennis. It's going great, mates. G'day, Alan. How are we doing? I'll set up the pound US dollar trade, and then we'll get a little bit organised here without Ash. So I will share my screen, number one, and we'll take a look at the pound with about 2.5 minutes to go before we need to do anything. Share screen. Okay, this should be easy. It's only me at the moment anyway. All right, there we go. You should now have Hi SF. Unfortunately, Ash not with us at the moment, so you can put that one on pause as a hello to Ash. What we're looking for today is the same as we look for every single day, and that is a breakout from the previous 3 bars prior to London Open on the hourly chart, or on the 4-hour chart. So we'll give that a bit of a miss for now. And there we have it. 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bars. So at the moment, our high looks to be above that bar, and our low looks to be above that bar. That's the range that we're seeking to break. I'll place the short because I doubt that will change. The low of that bar is 127.354. We go 10 below that, so the entry would be at 127.25 for the sell. Let's fix that up. 127.25. And the stop loss will be at this stage 15 pips above the high of that bar, which is 125. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Kamar, if you're in the room, I have had a look at your wonderful EA, and it's fantastic. Exactly what I would love to have. I didn't see the file in there, however, so I'll have to work out how we can sort that out. The high of this bar is indeed at 127.78.5. We'll round that up to 127.79, and then we'll add 15 pips. So 127.94 will be the stop loss on the short. 127.94. There we go. And of course, we reverse that for the long. So the buy becomes 127.94. These are yesterday's numbers, by the way, if you've just joined us and don't know what the hell's going on. And the stop loss for the sell is for the buy is 1.2725. And just by brief explanation, for those of you who are new into the room, welcome to you, by the way. Great to have you on board, and we hope you enjoy yourself in the next little bit. I'm flying solo today, normally with Ash, of course, who is a FTSE expert, but has been having a fair bit of fun on the currency pairs as well. Pound Aussie, double cross for long. I'm onto it, Swee, I'm onto it. I did have a look at that, and we'll take a good look at it in a minute. Hi to you, hi PL as well. Solo so far. PL, Ash is having trouble with his internet. We hope to find him in the not too distant future. I better place these trades, eh? Right, wants me to do a sell stop first, so we shall. And the order is at 127.25. And the stop loss is at 127.94. The reverse, of course, will be for the buy order. And we'll go with that now. New order, buy stop. Okay, so the market is open. The buy stop is at 127.94. And the stop loss for the buy stop is at 127.25. Okay, so again, just for those of you who are joining us the first time, welcome to you. Here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the breakouts. Hi, Shukri. Hi, LT. Hi, Emmanuel. We're looking for the breakout of the last 3 bars of the pre-London Open. So in this case today, we've got that bar, and that bar. This is on an hourly chart. And we put our entry 15 pips above the high of that range. And we put our entry, that's for the long, obviously. And we put our stop loss 10 pips below the low of high custard of that 3 pip range. And then, of course, to trade in the reverse for the sell, we just reverse those numbers. So 127.25 is the entry for the sell, and 127.94 is the stop loss for the sell. Once we are triggered into either, we cancel the reverse order, and we then start to trail on a 15-minute chart. Let me briefly explain how that works, and we'll go to yesterday's trade. And we got triggered on this bar here. This is the 15-minute chart we're trailing on already here, right? And as soon as you get triggered, you then count 2 seller bars. So don't care what you're using, open, high, low, close, red, black, whatever color scheme you're using. So we don't count the first bar. We count the second bar as our first of the 2 seller bars we're looking to trail on. And there was one, but we didn't get a second. There was one, we did get a second. So we move our stop loss to the point above the first of the 2 seller bars. So if that's the 2 seller bars, our stop loss moves to there. Then we get another 2 seller bars, and we bring our stop loss down to above the first of the 2 bars. And that was pretty much as good as it got, because the market turned around, hit the bottom of our range, and went bazoom, straight back towards the top. And that's where we find ourselves currently. So that's how it works. And this is in beta test mode, by the way. I think we've got about 3 or 4 weeks left in this before we then turn to analysis of what we've witnessed over the previous 3 months. We'll be doing that in the show. We'll do it live in the show. So we'll be looking at things like, okay, let's look at today, for instance. What are our options here? Well, we don't have anything that really is an issue, apart from we're above DR1. That's okay. But we might find that it's not right to trade above DR1. And what we'll do is we'll go back day by day and have a look and see what the filters might have been that could have improved our results. So that's upcoming. If you hang around, we'll do that. As I say, when this trial expires, I'll have a look at the spreadsheet tomorrow. We'll have a look at the spreadsheet live in the show tomorrow to see how we're tracking, and we'll use that spreadsheet to go back and analyze exactly what was or what may have been. If I was trading the pound today, what would I be looking for? Okay, the daily chart has very, very clearly shown us that we've broken above the range that has been in vogue since April. And it looks like it wants to go a little bit higher. Where to is the burning question. Well, let's find a level that it might look to pause at. There's nothing there that's extremely stands out like a pair of dogs trotters. Yeah, it's all a bit rough, isn't it? Don't know. I'd probably have to call that level there. 129.75. So maybe there's some upside left in the old pound US dollar. So I'd be looking to do that. Wouldn't be looking to jump in right now, of course. What I'd like to see as a, well, my strategy is called the slingshot. As a slingshot trader, I'd definitely like to see some pullback. This is going to be extremely difficult for me to trade long today. And the reason is we've got an untested daily pivot here. So to trade away from that would be going against a big percentage number. And I'm not so keen to do that. Would I be prepared to trade it in the opposite direction short? Always. But I'd need to see a whole lot of stuff before that was the case. We've kind of got a little tweezer top sitting here on the 30-minute chart. So maybe if we came back and hit this resistance area, support area, former resistance area, and then bounced off it and put in a lower high, maybe that's an invitation to go short. I'd need to see a confluence of some description before I did that as well. So minimum requirement is potential reversal. I guess we've got that on a 30-minute chart, and that lower high may bring us into play for a short. Now, pound Aussie SWE. Let's take a look at pound Aussie, shall we? And there we go. It's actually not this one that I'm super keen on. It's more Euro Aussie that Ash traded yesterday. And as I said yesterday, there's no way I could have traded that under my strategy rules. There is indeed a double cross sitting there on the hourly chart. And let's show that to you. My issue with that is twofold. It's not the first. And it's probably the one time frame will look like double crosses. But I think that's the key word is double cross. This is telling us fibbers. It's lying to us. What we really can't see here is a move that's definitive and decisive. One thing I do like is this bar here. I like it because in theory, if the bears are in charge here, they would have taken this below the daily pivot. But it's clear to me that there is no one in control here. The double cross SWE is actually suggesting that we should trade this short, not long, because I like to trade against momentum, the previous bar's momentum. So I'd be looking, if I were to trade a double cross here, I'd be looking to trade the short, not long. But I think this is a bullish signal, not a bearish signal, to be fair. I like that bar there. But I don't like the fact that we're just hugging the weekly pivot like no tomorrow. We've also got to take into consideration that we've got an FOMC statement. I know it shouldn't unduly worry pound versus Aussie, but the Fed, when the Fed talks, the market listens. And for that reason, we're possibly going to see a fair bit of consolidation today before the Fed announcement overnight for most of us. That doesn't mean, of course, that that's compulsory. It's only a thought. And you can see that we're prone to range here. We've broken out of it, yes, but we've gone straight back into another one. So it's not a simple thing, really. But that bar I do like, and that to me is bullish until the daily pivot's broken. That will probably be my bias. So I'll take a look, because I am keen to go long pound Aussie. I'm keen to go long anything against the Aussie at the moment, because I think the Aussie has to come off. But that doesn't look like it has been the case. And in fact, I got trapped on that earlier today. I traded Aussie CAD short, and I got my fingers burnt. That was the order that I placed. In fact, we placed it yesterday. I replaced it this morning. Should have expired overnight. For those of you who were in last evening's session, that trade or that order should have expired overnight, but I replaced it this morning. What I should have done is wait for the next one. I like the fact that we haven't been able to get above this trend line. That's exciting. But similar to what I've just said on pound Aussie, we seem to be very comfortable sitting in this daily pivot, weekly pivot area. So I'm not as keen as I was. Alan, you stayed in, and Sanjay, you stayed in, obviously. Yeah. We got a little bit frostbite on that one. It's cold here, so I'll call it frostbite. Look, I don't want to dismiss it though, because I still see left shoulder, head, right shoulder, break and retest of the neckline. Why CAD yen is not recommended today? I thought it okay bouncing off. CAD yen. I haven't mentioned CAD yen, but I'll get there. No problems. So I'm inclined to actually replace that order, but I'm also inclined to wait for this candle to close. And that's got an hour and 48 minutes to go. If that candle were to look like this, it is another lower high. But I think I'd be happy to go back in at this level. So yeah, or would I? Still the same, nothing's changed. That level burnt us this morning. 93, the handle. Don't want to miss it. I do not want to miss it. But FOMO is not a good thing to carry either. That's not why I traded it in the first place. It was a genuine setup. The hesitation here now makes it just that little bit more difficult. I'll see what this candle looks like. And I don't know if I can wait 1 hour 45. That's my problem. I'll put another short entry under here, but it'll be at the same small risk, just 0.25% or something like that. So let's use it won't be far off the same levels. 93.10. We're going to change that by 1 pip. 93.10 is going to be the entry. And the stop loss. I traded that bar, didn't I? Let me see what that level is. I got above the daily pivot. Should have got above the daily pivot. 93.67. Yeah, we were a little bit keen, weren't we? Okay. I think the level should be above that bar at this point. If that one goes higher, then we might change our mind, but I'll use that level. 93.68 will be the stop loss. 93.68. Okay. So that's Aussie CAD. Again, guys, once the day changes, we need to cancel these orders, right? Don't carry them through the swap because you can get taken in on the spreads. The spreads widen very quickly, and we don't want that to happen. You can easily replace the order once the market settled down, but you need to cancel these orders if they're not triggered. Daily chart's different, but 4 hours, and anything below that, of course, you need to cancel the order if it's not triggered. All right, there's the parameters around that. Well, we wanted TP1. Look, it'll be the same. We'll use the same TP1. It will be at 92.93. 92.93 for your first take profit. And just take a third off on these 4 hour charts. Take a third off at that point and leave your stops where they are. Then you'll want a TP2. Your TP2 is down here at 92.05, 92.05 for your TP2. Again, take a third off, and then you just let the rest rip. We might look to micromanage that on trailing stops if we get the opportunity. All right, what else we want to look at? We want to look at, yeah, that's true. We got a bad CAD. We got a good Aussie as well. You combine those two, you got a problem. Euro pound bounce on monthly and weekly pivot for sell. CAD yen. Why have I got to look at CAD yen? Why CAD yen is not recommended today? I thought it okay bouncing off the 200. Okay, I don't use EMAs. So you're probably talking about wave riders. I'm imagining, Dennis, not a wave rider trader, so I won't make comment on that. If I have a look at CAD yen myself, I'm actually in a short on CAD yen, not on this chart, but CAD yen. Okay, we've got a nice strong resistance level above us. We've got a break retest of the weekly pivots, but we've gone into consolidation ever since. Yeah, it's kind of 50-50 from here, isn't it, at the end of the day? Let's have a look and see what the bigger time, and it's telling me exactly the same thing. Great break of the weekly pivot, retested it, and we've just gone into consolidation. One thing I would say, if CAD yen were to close above the weekly pivot, then that's extremely bullish. That's extremely bullish. But it's not there yet, right? It's very, very difficult to trade long at that point. And I would suggest if you're talking wave riders, then they'd be looking to trade that long without too much shadow of a doubt, I would have thought. The daily charts, why wouldn't you want to take that? I'm assuming the 200 EMA is, well, I don't need to assume anything. I put it on there, can't I? Insert indicators. Trend. Moving average. 200. And that should do us. Okay, there's your 200 EMA, there's your bounce. I guess why you wouldn't want to take that is there's no entry bar because you've got to close below the weekly pivot, I guess. But I'm not a daily wave rider trader. Probably more for me because this is a nice strategy, but I'm only surmising that's why Paul wouldn't want to trade that today, because there's two pivots here blocking his path. I can see why you'd want to take it long. I'm also thinking that that Paul might be looking for a little bit deeper retracement. But yeah, I can't speak for Paul. I can only surmise what his thinking is. That's all. And I hope he's right, because I'm short CAD yen, playing reversal persons. There's your issue. You know, you've had a strong break below the pivots and you're wanting to climb back above them. You'd want to see a close above there. As I said, if I saw a close above the weekly pivot here, then I think there's definitely longs on for sure. I would be jumping on board with you at that point, Dennis. But as it stands at the moment, I'm short. So I'm a guinea, mate. I'm a guinea at this point. But I mean, I got short up here, so I'm in no danger here. I've got my stops and entry and everything, so all is well in the world for me. Okay, so that's CAD yen. What else have we got? Euro pound, bounce off monthly and weekly pivot for a sell. Ooh, that's a bold one. Euro pound for sell. Okay. Totally get your point. There's your weekly pivot. There's your test, and there is your seller bar. But there's been a few seller bars below the monthly pivot and below the weekly pivot. Well, sorry, that's not true. There's that one, but not a bounce off it. So yeah, I can get with that. From my point of view, I'm not trading this short because I'm looking for long. But you'll get the idea that I'm very much a counter-intuitive and also counter-trend trader and counter-momentum trader. And if the trend here, well, actually the trend's probably changing on the indicators, but I would imagine it's probably still long. Would that be right? Yeah, a bit tough to, I don't know. I don't know how those super trends and things work, frankly. But I totally get why you'd want to be bearish here. Totally get it. You've come underneath the monthly pivot, gone back to resistance, back underneath the monthly pivot, and now you've failed to close above the monthly pivot. So I get that. And I certainly wouldn't be against trading that short. Not in my kit bag, but I certainly wouldn't be against it. I think we're up to date with the questions, so I might do a little bit of analysis. You can see I've got a euro yen trade in the market there, which is just out of the money. I think we also placed that this morning, and we had some orders yesterday as well. I've now got 3 orders. The buy has closed, I believe. Oh no, or has it? Yep, the buy is gone because my trading stop has been hit. So that one's out. We'll get rid of that. But I've got 2 sell orders in the market on euro yen. Okay. Or I can't reverse that either, can I? What a bugger. Let me put it back. Euro yen. I think these are all on H4. Yep. Okay. So super trend was green and trend line red for euro pound on daily. Let me go back there for 2 ticks. Super trend green and trend line red. Trend line red. Okay, that would depend on a few things. There's a red trend line. And there's another red trend line. This is going to be nice to trade when it breaks. It'll be quite nice to trade when it breaks. Weekly pivot bounce. Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. Twice even. And underneath the monthly pivot. Get all of that. We are at a support and resistance area. That's a little bit interesting. But if we, and my way of thinking here would be if we break out here and retest, then I'd be interested in going short. But I'm really a long person still at this point because we are at a support level. So that's just me. Weekly pivot is red. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, that's the way I see it, mate. We'll see how it goes. It's obviously in a position where it's going to be tough to go short or long right now because we're at a support level. Yeah, can't trade. I agree with that. It's a very, very difficult position right now. But, you know, if you're a trend trader and you had a red super trend, then I guess you'd be trading that bar right there, or maybe even that bar right there. But that is not the case. So I remain a bit bullish on that. And if I can find a lower high in this particular point, it's really tough to go long because you've got the pivots dead ahead. You've got strong resistance. So I'd probably need to see a break back into here and retest before I consider it. Okie dokie. Where's I going? Oh, euro yen. That's right, because I've got orders in. Okay, why am I short? Well, I'm short in 2 places. And the reason I'm short in 2 places is we may be just a little bit early with this. Like maybe we were a little bit early with Aussie CAD. But, you know, what we're always looking for is when we've got potential reversals, right? And if I look at the daily chart here, I've got a potential reversal in that. I think that's an evening star or whatever you call it. I only recognize them by their character, not by their name. But that looks extremely bearish to me. And when I see an extremely bearish scenario, I then look for a lower high. And that bar provided me with a lower high. And exactly the same as you've just mentioned, Dennis, on step down. Okay, got it. As you've just mentioned on euro pound, we do have a nice retest of the weekly pivot and potential bounce off that. I like these bars to be white rather than black. And that's exactly what we got. So it's pretty much automatic for me to place an order short underneath that bar with my stop loss above it. And that's exactly what I've done. I think I placed that in last night's show as well. And I, again, have replaced it this morning. So if that one does get us to TP1, which is here, I then want to scale into this by adding another order underneath this bar. So that's why you're seeing two orders on my screen right now. So I'm trading this bar per se, and then I'm going to trade this bar here if we get to TP1. How do you, okay, on the trade manager, you can do that. If you don't have a trade manager, you can't do that, I don't think. I don't think there is provision for that. Maybe there is. Let me see. New order. Let me just place an order here and see what happens. Buy stop at 122.80 will do. Kind of means you got to be awake. This is, I guess, what we're saying. 123.93 if you don't have an EA running. So there we go. Invalid stop loss. What do you mean invalid stop loss? Buy stop. It's because of buy stop. Let me change that then to 120.93. There we go. I thought we might get an option box come up there, but it doesn't look like we do. Kind of silly, isn't it? There should be expiries on these, or should have the option to expire them anyway. But no, it looks like that's not the case. Now I've got to find that order and cancel it. Delete that. Okay. Below the price before you click. Below the price. Okay, let me try that again. New order. Tension throw executed market condition difference with the requested price may be significant. Where are you seeing this, Alan? Oh, expiry. There you go. Happy days. It is there. Cool. Got it. All right. So there's your answer. That's how you expire it. So whatever time is there, that's exactly what you do. Happy days. There had to be one, didn't there? Yep. Cool. Righto. So there we go. If you wanted to follow those orders or trade as we have now, we've got one in the market. Those are the parameters that I am using. Euro yen short at 121.86 and TP1 is at 121.33, which is 5 pips above our second entry. And we'll take profit there. We'll take half off the table, make that one free. And then we will add more juice at 121.28 and we'll take profit at 119.90. Our first take profit at 119.95. On that one, you can take a third off the first position because that will be our money trade if we get into it. All right, so that's Euro Yen. What else have I got happening? CAD Yen we've spoken about. Let's see if we've been triggered. We have not been triggered into the pound breakout trade. We are at 5:30 my time, which means that's now time that I can trade the 30-minute charts. Just by explanation of that, a lot of you probably won't realize, because you haven't been in all the shows, that I do not trade the first 30-minute candle of London session, which is why you hear Ash talk for the first pretty much half hour, because he does. He trades, in fact, he likes to trade the open of London session. I do not, because and purely because of bad experience. I have just been hammered over the years in my early days by trading that first bar. And if you care to take a look and analyze pound US dollar in particular, on the first 30-minute bar of London session, it often reverses. Often, not always, but often. So you might get taken into the trade that you thought was right, and then suddenly, bang goes your mangoes, and away you go. Pretty much like that. That's what you don't want to see. So yeah, I'm an absolute no-go zone for the first 30-minute candle London session. Dollar CAD and dollar Swissy we'll have a look at. Yes, they do keep falling. Yep. We're in euro yen short. I'm in euro yen short. Has it been triggered again? Okay, that's a good thing, because we can't win if we're not in the money, if we're not in the trade. So euro dollar today. What am I? Am I a bull or am I a bear? I can't be a bull. And the reason I can't be a bull is because I'm trading straight into these resistance areas, straight into these highs. So that just doesn't work for me. What I need to see to even think about trading long is a decent retracement. This is the daily chart, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of bullish activity, and then one little retracement, doji bar, and a bar that still couldn't go through the highs. Maybe today we can go through the highs, and that's fine. Don't have a problem with that. In bias terms, I've still got this thing about the dollar index, and it's proving me wrong as we go through the week. Both Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday have been selling days for the dollar index. I'll show you that chart. New share, screen number, that one. Okay, so my theory was that we would see a retracement on the US dollar versus a whole bunch of currencies, right? And those bunch of currencies obviously are the 7 majors. That's how this is judged, the dollar index. I don't see it on this chart at the moment, but I have got a trend line. We'll put that in. That comes through here. And this trend line here that you see is already on the page. Let me get my thing back. God, I hate this chart. Only because I'm not used to it, I suppose. I can't find my little thing, my cursor. Where's my cursor? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So my thought process is, oh, now my trend line's disappeared. God, that's why I hate this. My theory is that, oh, here we go, more tools and Makita. My theory is that we'll get a bounce. And I thought of maybe that level there, but it looks like we're seeking this level out here, and we're nearly there. So my theory is that we're going to retrace back to this area on the dollar index, which of course will put a retracement, if nothing else, into the market against all things trading against the US dollar. Certainly not happening. And as we've just had pointed out to us by Shukri, dollar CAD and dollar Swissy are just falling and falling and falling. And so is the dollar index. So this is why we're seeing what we're seeing in those pairs. But my bias is still that the dollar will retrace back to this area. If that happens, then we should have a bit of a picnic on the Aussie US dollar. the Kiwi US dollar, the pound US dollar, the euro US dollar, just about anything that has got US dollar in it. We should be having a fine old time, but it's not there yet. And that's what I've been waiting for, very, very much so. Hopefully it will happen, but I'm now suspecting that it's not going to happen until we see more tools at Canberra. Good one, Dennis. Yes, two's true. Until we see the FOMC statement, which of course comes out overnight most of our times, I think 4 a.m. or something for me. I can't quite remember exactly when it is now, but I'm not going to be awake, I promise you. But I'd really like to get ahead of the market somehow and be in some positions. That's interesting on dollar yen. We've now hit the monthly pivot. I'll have a look at that in a minute. But the dollar Swissy and dollar CAD, as you point out, Shukri, have just continued to sell off, dollar Swissy in particular. Dollar Swissy, bang, 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 bang. And yeah, Ash is devastated. He missed out on this. He wanted to trade this short, as I was pretty much devastated to miss out on dollar CAD when we were up here somewhere. And I think I said, I've been through this. The only opportunity to trade this for me was last Monday morning on this bar. You little sod. Let me get that back. On this bar here, but that's an hourly chart. That's Monday morning. The chances of me trading that are 2 Buckley's and 0. So yeah, there's a lot to do with timing it. Sometimes when you're trying to trade, it just doesn't work out for you. The numbers are just not in your favor, and something we just have to accept. It's as simple as that. Okay, so take all of that in your minds, and you'll come up with why I'm now looking for euro dollar short, why I'm looking for dollar yen long. I can't believe I'm saying that, because I've been trying to trade it short or get back into the shorts for the longest time. I got a fair bit of success with this on the last trip down, which started up here. But since then, haven't been able to catch it at all. And I really thought that we were probably headed up to here, and then bang, bang, and now it looks like another bang today. Maybe this is the opportunity, because we've come back into this ascending channel and now breached the bottom side of it. This is time to pay attention, I think, on dollar yen. So I'll be doing exactly that. And I need a trend line, of course. I need a confluence. This is not a trend line. It's the bottom of a range or channel, if you like. But I'm sure I can find one. There we go. So we could use that, or we could come up a little bit and use that. Pretty much the same thing, really, at the end of the day. What I'm looking for is nice bounce here, but not yet. I want to see a couple of bars of consolidation, then get back above the trend line and back into the range or the ascending channel and retest it. Then I'll be happy to go long. I would take profit here. I would take profit here, and I'd let the rest rip to that descending channel that we see right up here. So that's dollar yen for me. Aussie. I'm liking this bar here. I'm liking the way it's forming. This is a 4-hour chart, of course. And we've had a little bit of a warning. Again, that 3-candle pattern. Buyer bar, doji, seller bar that engulfs the buyer bar, and then a very big sell-off bar to follow. This could well be the lower high that I'm looking for. So if that candle looks pretty much as it does now, in what, an hour and 20 minutes time? Is that when candles change at the moment? I can't remember. What have we got left? Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes time. If that is the case, then I will most definitely be looking to trade Aussie US dollar short. Now I've got to remind myself what trades I'm in. I don't think I'm in an Aussie trade now. It was Aussie CAD. that I've got that order set back on, but we're not in the trade. So I'll have to watch that. And if they are to be simultaneous entries, which is potentially the case, I would have to make sure I've got my risk well and truly taken into consideration. So I don't want to overexpose myself to the Aussie. Certainly not short, certainly not because it's been so bullish. Yeah, I'm happy to get in, but when you're looking for reversals, or when I'm looking for reversals, I generally go in at 0.25% on the first trade, as I did on Aussie CAD yesterday. And if that works, and we then get the next retracement, so I'm then going to sell the rallies, right? I can add another 0.25% because I've generally taken profit at that point, and that one's not at risk. So I can generally add another 0.25% on that first retracement. And then when we get a second retracement, I can generally add another 0.25% if I've taken profit on my second position. That's how you make this work for you, these reversals, because really it's a toss of a coin most times, the first trade, because you're really getting in at an early point. That's why I try to look for a neckline break and a retest before I enter. Just had that little bit of insurance, which didn't work yesterday, as I said. But, you know, if you're dropping 0.25%, it's not the end of the world. And if you're wrong, then that's all you're going to lose. But if you're right, you can pick it up again and again and again. So that's exactly what we're trying to do here. So Aussie US dollar, yeah, look, a bit of a head and shoulders coming here. And I think you're going to find that on all of these pairs as we get these retracements, which have come very quickly, I've got to say. And that's why I didn't want to get into them yesterday. I wanted to wait until we get these lower highs or higher lows in the case of going in the opposite direction. So this may well suit me. If that bar closes like that, I'll definitely look to trade it short. It may well be the right shoulder. And if that's the case, fine, we'll get in on it. And then if that becomes the neckline, it'll either be there or there. If that becomes the neckline, we then wait for the break, take out the weekly pivot, retest, then we've got a second entry. Perfect. That's exactly what we'll be looking for. And that's what we're trying to achieve on Euro Yen at the moment, right? So, yep, Aussie dollar short if it will set up for us. Pound US dollar. It's been doing this quite a lot, hasn't it? Just staying within that range for quite some time before we do break out of it. And that's okay as long as we get the nice sustained break when it happens and don't get a whipsaw. That's what hurts, those whipsawy things. So I've given you my analysis on that. Dollar CAD, we've spoken kind of about that. What we didn't speak about is this beautiful false break here. Where was I when that happened? Ooh, okay. That looks like it was in trading time. Completely missed it. Okay. Where from here? Right, we've got what's that chart? The hourly chart. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Get a bit more perspective. Yeah, not as neat a 3-candle setup, that's for sure. I think I'll be looking for a double bottom here before I did anything. If we got the double bottom, maybe we can poke our way back up here, find the left shoulder and turn one into a right shoulder. So up to here, bounce back, higher, low, long. That may well be the way to go here on dollar CAD. But yeah, as we've seen, the dollar still seems to want to sell. But we are very, very close to that support level that I spoke about on the dollar index. So just be aware of that. We are what? In fact, we have really touched it. It's the 96-cent mark on dollar index, and looks like we may be in a position to see that bounce at this point. So be very much aware of that. The dollar is in a position where it is at strong support. So, pardon me, and that's why we're seeing tops, and that's why we're seeing bottoms, obviously, on the dollar pairs, because we are at a support level on the dollar index. And I'm wanting to take advantage of that. But again, FOMC coming up overnight, it does make things just that little bit trickier, because the market tends to go into a consolidation area prior to these big announcements. Dollar Swiss, it tends to be defying gravity. If that is still to be the case on the dollar index, this really does have to stop. And maybe this is the level at which it does that. There's a whole lot of maybes, isn't there? And it's based all on the dollar index, really is. If the dollar index does bounce, then you're going to see all of these pairs change direction. And of course, that's what I'm looking for. So dollar Swissy, if I am to trade that today, I need to find a reason. And at this point in time, all I see is that we are at a support level, but I see nothing else that's available to me in terms of a structure. Don't really have a, or do I? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. So we'll pick that trend line up. Yeah, it's not really there, is it? You could stretch the friendship a little bit by going to there. Maybe a little bit of a tweezer bottom sitting here on that level. Okay, I could get interested in that, I suppose, but I think there are better ones that I've already pointed out. Kiwi US dollar, broken clear of the descending channel. Not really at a strong resistance level, one would have to say. Although if we go a little bit wider, yeah, I think this has probably got a little bit left in it. Maybe up to here, 67-ish. So maybe the Kiwi, if you're looking for relative strength and not trading against the US dollar, maybe the Kiwi versus some of these weaker pairs might be the go. Keep that in mind. Kiwi stronger than anything, in my humble opinion. Euro pound we've spoken about. That's an interesting bar, but like I said, and I am looking for longs, I would find it very difficult to trade into these pivots. I'll go a little bit tighter so you can see that far clearer. Yep, nice higher low, no question. But look at this. This is telling me that the monthly pivot is where price likes to be currently. It's waiting for something. That something is more than likely a Brexit related thing, FOMC related thing. It's waiting. There's really nothing here that's telling me, okay, we're about to explode in either direction. But of course, I'm still biased to the long side, given that we are at the bottom of the range and we've come back into it. We've bounced off the weekly pivot. So this is a good candle for me, I've got to say. I like the candle, but trading here is really risky. Maybe we're clear to the weekly pivot because we have had a lot of price action here. Maybe we could sneak in here, get our entry above the daily, maybe take profit here, or maybe here, just before the weekly pivot. Not the worst by any stretch. So I'll be looking at that. We'll talk about that in the US session a bit later. Big bullish engulfing bar on pound Kiwi. Not sure why I'm looking at pound Kiwi, but I am looking at pound Kiwi. And I think it's probably got a little bit left to go. Great place to trade this would be down here if we get there. So I think a little bit is left in pound Kiwi. And given what I've just said about the Kiwi, then I think that's probably a reasonable position to be taking. It is oversold, however. So you'd want to be looking for a rally to sell it, in my humble opinion. Now, what was I really interested in today? I was interested in 5 pairs. We've been through Euro Pound, that's one of them. CAD Yen we've looked at, Pound Yen, Pound CAD, Aussie Kiwi. Pound Yen, Pound CAD, Aussie Kiwi. None of them on here. Pound CAD is here. Okay, I'm looking to trade Pound CAD short, actually. And what I want to see is a close below 170.24. 170.24 is right about there. Now, you may want to ask yourself, why on earth would I want to do that? Given that I've just said, sorry guys, I'm just having a look at that level. It looks a bit different than before. You may want to know why on earth I would want to do that, given that I don't really have a setup until we come back into here and then retest that level. And that's still the case, absolutely still the case. But I think I'd be willing to take it even with the close, without the retracement. And the reason is because we've had a breakout bar here, and I could probably even place the order now. We've had a breakout bar here, and my theory goes that if the buyers are really not committed here, then they're going to be wrong at this point. So that buyer bar disappears. When that buyer bar disappears, I think the bears are then in control. The issue, of course, with this one is the weekly pivot is only 30 odd pips away, and your risk would be 100 pips, basically. That's why I want to see a close below here and see what that candle looks like. Maybe it even goes beyond here, and that's going to be the risk that I take by waiting. But I think it does confirm what I've just said. If you wanted to take the big risk to reward, then yes, there's an entry underneath that bar now, and you'd want to get your stops, in this vicinity somewhere. So 100 pips plus. But I think I'll wait for the price to get back under there. Aussie Kiwi, we haven't spoken about Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi, I want to go long. And the reason I want to go long is now escaping me. I thought this, it's the daily pivot. Okay, now I've got it. What I see here is this tweezer bottom. Now I need to see something that supports that tweezer bottom, however, and that has to be a horizontal level in this particular case. You can see pretty much where price is right now, and there's that horizontal level that I'm looking for. If I go even wider, you can see that has been resistance in the past, this level. You can see it's been support in the past. Market moves substantially. It's been support here as well, and so on and so forth. So I don't mind this at all. We have come back inside the range. We haven't got a significant higher low on that chart. We certainly have on this chart with that one, but we're still going high in my humble opinion. So I'm interested here. The issue, of course, is that we're trading straight into the monthly pivot. So we've got to take profit before we get there. And of course, the re-entry, if you like. So looking for a smaller risk than would be the case if I took the tweezer bottom on its own. So you'd have to enter there, say, and your stop loss would need to be somewhere like there, 63 pips. Trading into 15, 16 doesn't make sense. It's just too much. So I need to see something more than what I'm seeing at the moment. All I'm seeing is consolidation. What that looks like, well, it may look like a break of a trend line. It may look like a false break of a trend line on a smaller time frame. What have we got that can support that? You can see the double bottom here, very, very, very clearly on the 30-minute chart. A couple of ways to look at it. One would be this. Maybe not using that one. We'll make it a bit cleaner and we'll go right to the top here. Or we can come down here, or we can go there. That looks a bit cleaner to me. It's not much difference though. Okay, so break and retest of that maybe. Got to take out the highs. Better still, or probably will be very much the same thing. If that becomes a low, then break below here. Obviously don't take these lows out, but the lower you can get here without taking these lows out, the better it would be. And then look to trade it from there. That would be the best case scenario. But you want to have something to support you. You want to have some form of confluence before you did. But Aussie Kiwi, yep, keen to go back long if I can get a setup, not necessarily before. Well, definitely not before. Pound CAD we've spoken about. Did we speak about pound yen? It's the other one that I'm keen on today. And I don't see it on my chart here. Why? There it is. That's why. Because it's on that stupid thing. Pound Kiwi. Oh, here it is. Pound yen. Okay. Pound yen, I'm looking to go long again. But I want to see a close above 137.45. So this is very similar to what I've just described on pound CAD going the other way. Because we've got a big seller bar here, we've come back below the weekly pivot, but we've closed above the weekly pivot. Importantly, this bar here looks as though this wanted to go short, but this bar here changes that to some degree, in my humble opinion. So if we were to break above this range, I would look to trade this long. I know there's a head and shoulders look about this, and I don't say that I want to trade this long for a long time because of that. But I see an offset right shoulder up here somewhere. So I don't want to trade on a 4-hour chart. I want to trade on a 30-minute chart. But I need the close to be above that level. I just wanted to point that out to you. And that would give me a strong support for that theory, because we've been unable to close. We've tried all day long to get above the daily pivot and the weekly pivot. If there's to be a breakout here, then it should go short from here, from this point. But if it's not going to go short, then the obvious alternative to that, apart from, of course, the consolidation continuing, is that we break out to the high side. So if we do get a close above that level, as I've said, 137.45, which is up here somewhere, I think this is going probably back to this area here. Back up to, well, yesterday's daily pivot basically, and the confluence area, DR1 and 1.25. When we hit that trend line, I think it's all over. Don't want to trade anymore, because that then perhaps becomes a right shoulder for me on a 4-hour chart. Okie doke. So again, the lower high, the significant lower high, that's what I'm looking for here ultimately, but I do want to trade it back to there. That is really it as far as I'm concerned today. I don't have, well, I mean, that's enough. That's just going to keep me busy in the next few hours, I can assure you. But I don't really have anything else. It is now turned 6 o'clock my time, or it's just about the turn. Yes, it has just now turned 6 o'clock. Let's take a look around the grounds and see if we've got anything to do. Pound US dollar hasn't figured. Euro hasn't done anything. Let me go to the 30-minute charts, not those charts. Although that looks interesting. Didn't see that before. Yeah, not quite there, is it? Not quite. So we got the break, but we didn't really get the consolidation above the trend line. before we came back underneath it. So really, it's a failed fake out at this point, and we're still in that consolidation that I can't get around. I would love to have seen this consolidate above here for a little bit more, then come back underneath like it did and give us the retest. Then I would have traded that short underneath there, stops above here. First take profit at the low of the day, and second take profit, probably target at the daily pivot. That would have been the trade. It may still be there, but it's not there right now. Dollar yen doesn't look like it wants to go long at that point, looking at that candle, does it? But we have hit the monthly pivot. We've put in a little low test bar, but yeah, that's of no interest to me at this point. I need to see something far better than that before I trade it. So like I said before, price up to here, come back, give us the higher low, and then look to trade it long. There's nothing there now though. Aussie US dollar, the 30-minute chart is still a no-go zone. Yeah, nothing there for me really. It doesn't interest me at all. The pound we know about. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD, again, no man's land for me. There is one possibility I see, however. And as the oscillations continue, I now see what I wanted to see on the euro up the other end. Break, consolidate, re-entry. Now, if this is a seller bar, in particular, if it comes back to, say, that level there, 133.81-ish, then that becomes a buy above that bar. But it's got to be a seller bar, and it's got to be decisive. Okay, so that may well be an early indicator as to what's going to come on that, if it sets up. If it doesn't set up, then obviously we just move on and don't do anything. Look at dollar Swissy, still going, eh? Amazing. So it's telling me that we're risk off because we've got the Swissy stronger, but it's not telling me anything else at the moment, because I want to see a stronger US dollar, not long term, but short term. I want to see that. Finally, the Kiwi, and don't mind that bar. What's it like on the hourly? Yeah, not as good. Not as good. If that was a white bar, I'd be far more interested in trading that short already, but it's not. So I'm just talking for no reason at the end of the day. Here's what I want to see on the Kiwi. But bearing in mind, I think this is the strongest of the dollar opponents. I want to see a break here. Give me a double top if you like, then come back underneath the trade line, retest it, and then go short, taking profit at the daily pivot there, and then probably another profit here, and let the rest rip if you like, if you consider that there's a possible reversal on here. If not, then just trade it as a normal 30-minute trade and take your first profit here and get out of the market here. Righto, guys, that's the way I see it at the moment. And I think I'm going to be a very, very, very busy 24 hours by the look of this. We hope to see progress tonight, Shukri, that's for sure. We'll go have another port if you got any left from it. No, I haven't, mate. I absolutely haven't. If not, give that Stones Green Ginger a nudge. It's not cold. It's not cold today. I don't need to. But I will be having a lovely white wine with dinner, and then maybe one just a bit after the US session begins. Righto, guys. Thank you very much for your company and all your questions and input. We look forward to doing it again tomorrow, when hopefully Ash has got his internet restored, and of course, hopefully he'll be back for the US session as well. Have a great rest of Hump Day, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow, if not before. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye for now.